Okay, so from this point on, the stream's being recorded. So I guess I'll just start because it seems like this is going to be pretty small. So, hi everybody, stage event, it's just me. We're going to show off some Edmontonia stuff. We're going to show off the progress on this guy. So let me share my screen. Hopefully that is viewable. So let me actually, we'll do it here first, but I'm gonna jump into the game, and let's see, we have, let's grab some stuff. We have an Edmontonia. This is a wild one. And the main thing I'm going to show today is the taming, because that's been most of the work for the past like month or so. So the taming process for this guy, you'll see in a minute, these wild ones, when they walk around, they do something. So the big fella sneezes, and you got this little cloud right here, which let me turn off that. So we have a sneeze powder. You must equip a torch to ignite the powder. So if I were to grab a torch, I'll put those in the last slot. You see I have like a flamethrower and veggie cakes. Everyone's like, oh god. It's not too crazy. So we'll just sneeze every now and then. And it'll kind of indicate which one it belongs to. So this Edmontonia is a 150, so it's a 150 sneeze powder. And you'll see once I equip a torch, so he's kind of just watching me now, and I have the option to ignite powder cloud. So if I put it away, he'll lose interest. But they just keep sneezing like that. And the torch is how you actually start the taming process. So this is a pretty cool tame. I'm actually quite happy with how this process is turning out. So we have the cloud, we ignite it, and then Edmontonia is going to start following me, and it's going to initiate a taming process. And what this does is creatures will spawn around Edmontonia that will fight it. And you see we have a time remaining and a fire affinity. And what you want to do at this point is you want to light these creatures on fire. And you'll see that'll build affinity. And Edmontonia gets the affinity based on the fire damage. So, depending on how you dish out the fire damage, it has to be from the player. Pyromans, fire wyverns can't give affinity. It has to be from you directly. So it can be a torch, flamethrower works. And I'm pretty slow right now. There we go. You can't hurt the Edmontonia while you're in this state, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, and ignore these. These are just kind of, this is for debugging. So pretty much the black circle is the range that creatures can spawn in. This is just kind of from my own testing to make sure that stuff is working. And it's a range of different carnivores. And what you want to do is you want to let those stacks get higher, and that'll have the fire tick be better. So you see if I light them up as it burns. And you'll see he's kind of, his health is not terrible, but it's getting low. And that's what the veggie cakes are for. So in between the target spawns, you can go up to the Edmontonia and you can feed it veggie cakes. and that will heal them. We're actually getting some pretty small fry. And it might be hard to read on my screen, but it says, Edmontonia will be disappointed if you don't use fire damage. And what that means is once it gets to max stacks, you'll see in a moment, there we go, every attack it's doing now is reducing taming effectiveness because it's not burning. So we want to just light that guy on fire. And then, unfortunately, you won't be able to get that back unless you reset the taming. So, kind of a standard tame. But you just want to be able... You just want to apply fire before it gets, like, disappointed. So it's not too hard. Let me give him some veggie cakes. Maybe slid a little bit there. Man, we're just getting Carnos and stuff. And obviously the flamethrower is the best way to go, but it is possible with a torch. You can do it with grenades and stuff as well. What else? Oh, and you'll notice too, the creatures have a cap of 20 affinity. So once you reach that cap on that creature, it'll automatically kill him. There's a bigger fella. And then we'll try a torch on this guy. And the other thing too is the creature that spawned is always the same level as the Edmontonia. So this is a 150 Rex. We're gonna let the stats max out. Smack this guy. We can keep hitting him with a torch. We don't have to do the flamethrower. There you go. Yeah, these wires are getting pretty intense. And they follow you during this process, so I can kind of run around and he'll stay with me. There you go. And that's the taming process. The affinity and everything does scale with your taming speed. So, you know, if you have like a higher taming multiplier on your server, it'll be faster to tame, obviously. But yeah, that's pretty much the taming process. A few specific things that I can show off in regards to it. So there are a few rules just on how the system works. The main one is there can't be structures nearby. This is to prevent like one of those creatures spawning in a base. Thankfully, they're set up so the only thing that those spawned creatures target is the Edmontonia. They have no AI besides that. So they won't go after you. They won't go after other herbivores. They're actually ignored by wild creatures too, so like nothing else will try to attack them, even if they hit it by accident. But they can't spawn near player structures, so let me spawn in another Edmontonia and go GCM. How long is the crafting going to take? They can't spawn near structures. They can't spawn near deep water. So if you're... There's a chance they can. I'll show how it works. But if you're near deep water and basically the taming process picks like a location to spawn the creature, if that creature's in water, it won't let it spawn. And it'll warn the player. So in my case, let me just make... I'll just place some of these down. And we will grab this. So we'll just sit right here. The structure limit is based on the Edmontonia, not the spawn creature. So you see it said just now, 150 Edmontonia is too close to a player structure. And that's kind of what this thing is for, right? So within this sphere, if there's any structures detected, then it won't spawn a creature. That's where it would have spawned the creature, and it looks like a second one just rolled. Yeah, right there. So the creatures can only spawn within the circle. They spawn a set distance. If there's any creatures or structures, player structures specifically, within the circle, it won't spawn a creature. So you'll see if I pick these up. And you won't see these bubbles and things in game. So this is just for testing. So now that the structure's picked up, we can see in a moment once he finds something. There you go. So a creature spawned, right? Oh, and another thing. So you'll see there's a timer on the creature, right? So it says time remaining 40 seconds. So if I let that expire, that Spino is just going to die. And what's going to happen is the remaining health of that Spino is going to factor in to taming ineffectiveness. So if I just sat here and I didn't do anything, this Edmontonia is going to lose a lot of taming effectiveness. See, even just from me not burning it right now, it's at 98% effectiveness. And if we just let that timer run out, he's actually getting to be pretty bad by that Spino. So we'll let the timer run out. And you'll see his effectiveness now is 82%. So it affects them pretty harshly. And then similarly, if like this guy died in the taming process, it would just despawn the creature. The creatures are kind of just bots for the process. But like it won't target me. It won't target anything else. It's just going to target the Edmontonia that spawned it. You can't pick up these creatures. You can't tame these creatures. They're just for the spawning system. So Edmontonia is probably going to die here. And then you'll see they'll both just kind of die suddenly. And Edmontonia doesn't have a death animation right now. So he kind of just stands there with his eyes closed. But, yeah, and let me go over by water. So a similar thing, within that black sphere, the spawn zone, if the picked location is in water, so like those little white spheres that you were seeing, it won't spawn the creature, and it'll say you're too close to deep water, you need to move somewhere else, which is why the Edmontonia follows you during the process, right? So you can lead it somewhere else if maybe there's too much water around, or there's a player base or something. So because of that too, that means you can't really trap this guy. Trap taming's not going to work. So yeah, right there. So too close to deeper water, move further away. So that's where the creature would have spawned, and it can't because it's in water. How the spawning works, it's not really important to you guys, but just for the sake of understanding. So, okay, so it spawned that Carno. So I'm going to pause just so I can show this. So we have the black sphere. That's the radius that it checks for structures and water, and the radius that the creatures can spawn in, right? So the other thing you're seeing here is this red line and then the white circle. So how it's spawning the creature is it's basically picking a random point within a radius around the Edmontonia. The point has to be above a certain distance, and the point's always random within the bigger black circle. So what it does is it starts the point up here, and then it basically traces down until it finds ground. So once it hits terrain, it picks that as the spawn location, and that's where it puts the creature. So if, for example, let's say that Edmontonia was over here, and it picked a spot here, right? It would never find ground, so it just wouldn't spawn a creature. Another thing that's a little important with the taming process, this process never actually ends until either the Edmontonia is tamed or it dies. There are a few other ways it can end. One of them is if you go too far away, and you'll get a warning, too far away from you, get closer before it loses interest. And you'll hear at this point the music stops, and it shouldn't spawn creatures anymore. So it definitely would have by now, so that's good. And Edmontonia's just going to kind of walk around. And it won't lose affinity or anything like that. Once I come back within range, Edmontonia will find me and he'll start following me again. So it kind of just re-ups the process. Now, if I'm too far away for too long, then it's going to completely forget about me, and it's going to start doing the sneezing thing again. So let me actually double check to make sure that works. It shouldn't lose taming affinity if you have to restart it. So I'm just going to let that guy run around. Yeah, so he's sneezing again. So from here, I would need to restart the process. So let me bring out my torch. Yeah, so he kept his affinity. If you're like a different tamer, like you're not in the same tribe or something, it will reset. So you can't really steal the tame. What else? I'm trying to think of what other important rules there are. It will start losing affinity after a time of losing you. I believe I have it set to 5 minutes. So if you wait at least 5 minutes, if let's say you die and you're really far away, after 5 minutes, it will start losing affinity over time, until it just completely resets itself. I believe once it gets 0, it's basically a hard reset. So if let's say you mess up the taming and effectiveness really bad, you can just wait for that soft reset. Reset with a KO. I don't know. I haven't really done any KO stuff with it, so I don't know if that would reset it. Is that a thing that you can do in the game normally? Can you reset passive tames with KO? Yeah, if that's the case, then that probably works. I'm not 100% certain, but I can test that. I won't test it now. But, yeah, that should probably work then. Actually, I would need to check, because when it's right now in the code, it's called taming partner, but you can't hurt it when you're a taming partner. So I don't know if you can actually trank it. So I would need to look into that. You might not be able to. But yeah, let's see. What else is there? We still have the powder stacks. That kind of works the same as before. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, I guess let me just pop in the game and show you an ed. GCM, let's do 150. So we have our ed here. Oh, and let me show you guys the saddle too. We actually have the first saddle. We don't have the flamethrower one yet, but we do have the base one. So check out this deal. So we got our crazy Ed saddle. So rider sits up there. The base saddle is just a 1 seat. There's no passenger seats, but the flamethrower saddle will have the 2 passenger seats that are the turret seats. So yeah, and you sit right here in your little throne. So Edmontonia's big thing again, for those of you that are not aware, I'm probably repeating myself, but is Edmontonia is a pyromaniac, and it has a crazy fire affinity. So it can do a lot of different things with fire damage, and also explosive damage. Its main thing that you'll see right now is on the very bottom of my HUD, I have that little spark powder icon that says 0. And if I hold my extended info, it says powder ammo. And what that entails is, so right now you'll see there's kind of this shimmery effect on Edmontonia's spines. And I can turn that on and off with that radio menu right now. And that allows me to apply a powder to targets. And what the powder does is the higher the stack count of the powder, the higher it multiplies fire damage. Now, when I say fire damage, I mean the hit that applies fire and also the passive fire tick that the inflamed buff does. So basically, if, let's say as an example, I guess the easiest way to demonstrate this would be, let's grab this guy, and then let's, what is it, spark powder, there we go. We'll do, well, I need more than that. Why didn't that work? Does that have to be 10? Nope. What's the command to spawn in an amount? I swear there is, was it not that number? How do I do it for the veggie cakes? Spark powder. There we go. Okay, so we'll add a bunch of spark powder. You need spark powder to do Edmontonia's fire attacks, or powder attacks rather. I believe what I have it set to right now is 10 powder for every attack, and that's based on every creature hit. So if you're hitting 2 creatures with 1 attack, it's going to be 20 cost, if that makes sense. I'm going to just put that in its inventory, and you'll see now I have 20 for the ammo, and that means I have 20 attacks that I can do with the powder. So I'm going to jump on this guy and toggle damage numbers, and we're going to just do, let's just do a Diplo, it's the easiest. So we have this Diplodocus. You'll see if I hit this guy, he's burning. So that's doing 1 every hit, right? So just as an example. And let me also give myself a flamethrower. It'll probably be easier to demonstrate that too. So I've never really messed with Pyroman. Do they just burn forever? That's kind of crazy. There we go. So if I burn this guy, so it's 34 there, right? So 34 per tick, pretty good. Lasts for however long. So now let's get this guy. And I'm gonna start hitting this Diplo if I can get to him. And I got my powder on. And you'll see now these little bombs show up. And you can also see there's sort of a powdery effect on the Diplo. And the more I hit this, the more intense the powdery effect is going to become. It's going to become louder. And you'll see those bars fill up, right? So now it's at max stacks. It'll stay that way for about 7 to 10 seconds. After that, they start decreasing every second. You can just hit it again to keep it up. Probably, yeah, I was going to say I'm probably going to kill that Diplo. And you'll see I'm also at 12 attacks now. So let me spawn in another one. And we're gonna get max stacks. And now I'm gonna burn this guy. And you'll see now that 34 is 120. So the fire is a lot stronger now because of that powder. And that applies universally to pretty much any fire. So if the Pyromane hits something that has the stacks, the Pyromane's fire is going to do more damage. So as an example, and let me give myself more spark powder. Can I do 100? Thank you. That makes it a lot easier. Oops. So we're going to spawn in a Diplo. And we're going to hit him. And then I'm going to tell the Pyromane to hit it. And he kind of just blew up. And the reason for that also is anything that would ignite the powder causes an explosion, which is fun. The Edmontonia can also do the explosion itself if you don't want to like get off and like use a flamethrower or a Pyromane or what have you. So I can hit this guy a few times and then do my right click, and that will proc fire as well. You'll notice that the fire color is actually based on the Edmontonia, which is fun. The sneeze cloud it makes when it tames is also similar. So if I were to change the color on this guy and set target dino color, I don't remember what region that is, so I'm just going to guess. Okay, it's not that. Let's do 2. There we go, so it's that region. So we'll have it be purple, just for example. I'm going to just spawn another one. So if I start hitting this guy, you'll see now there's a purple haze indicating the powder. And if I proc it, we have purple fire. So pretty cool, just bonus. And do keep in mind this is a 150 Edmontonia, so like the explosion is quite powerful. And fire is just already strong because it's health based. We're not done balancing it, me and my testers. We're still kind of tweaking things and making sure it feels strong but not ridiculous. But what else is there? So we got the fire, we got the little tail whip. Oh, his cuddle animation is his little taming excite, which is fun. It's got omnidirectional movement. It's really nice to move around. You can sprint backwards. You can sprint strafing. You can attack while moving. The whip attack does have a cooldown, so you can't do it freely. And you won't use the powder unless you're hitting something. But do keep in mind in like, let's say big fights. So like, let's say you bring an Edmontonia and a Broodmother. You're gonna be losing powder for every Aranio ad that you hit, right? Just actually, I can probably tweak it so the powder cost changes based on the target you're hitting. So a smaller drag weight creature takes less. That's probably the better way to do it. But another thing is the explosion that gets caused when you trigger the powder is radial damage. So you can hit like a group of things with the explosion. In my brief messing around with it with a Broodmother, the explosion was destroying all the Aranios, and it was quite funny. because one explosion would trigger all the other explosions, and then you just had a cluster of crazy damage. As it is right now, the explosion scales off the Edmontonia's melee also. It scales off the melee and the number of powder stacks. So if you were hitting something that has max stacks and you have like a 500% melee Edmontonia, that explosion's gonna really hurt. Really, really hurt. Trying to think what else I can really show off. He's got a little bite attack for harvesting berries. The left click, it's very good at gathering pretty much any mineral resource. It's very good at metal, crystal, obsidian, flint, stuff like that. Any node that it can harvest flint from, it will automatically harvest spark powder. So you do get spark powder just from hitting rocks with Edmontonia, so you can keep up that ammo cost. And let me go demonstrate that on a test level. How good does it swim? It actually doesn't have a swimming animation right now, but I imagine it wouldn't be very good. He's kind of a fat little fella. So swimming won't be great, but I think that's safe to assume. Just gotta wait for this level to load. I'm trying to think of what else I can really show off. Okay, so we got this test level here. So I'm gonna jump in on Edmontonia. And then let me spawn in. So we got our Ed. They also have a pretty significant weight reduction on everything mineral related. So you'll see if I hit this rock on the left side, we got 41 spark powder, a bunch of flint, stone, metal. And what's nice over Anki is I can just hit this stuff while I'm moving. I don't need to stop and wait 5 seconds for an attack to finish. So pretty great at harvesting. I can just keep moving. If I find a metal node, there's one over there. They're excellent at gathering metal. Much better than Anki. Still a bit less than a Magmasaur. But, I mean, that was 178 metal right there. And this is... see, it has 416% melee. So, it's pretty great. I should actually check. There might be a bug with something going on right now, because it should definitely be getting more metal because its melee is higher. But I'll check that out. But yeah, I can just kind of keep going, and I'm starting to slow down now. But, you know, that's 1, 2, 3 stacks of spark powder and a bunch of stacks of metal. So, pretty good harvester. What else is there to show on this guy? They can be picked up by Rhino. They are pretty heavy, so it's pretty much just Rhino. I don't think Quetz can pick them up. Another fun thing they do is if it was going into rocks while tamed... oh, he didn't do it. That's unfortunate. That might be a weight limit. He's supposed to hit rocks on his own. Let me... yeah, there he goes. So let's try that again. Probably just a weight limit. So you'll see as he's going through these rocks, he's hitting them and harvesting them. So they can just kind of trucks through stuff. What else is there? What else? I think it should, if you like carried it with a Rhino and went into rocks, it should harvest, kind of like the RG Anki thing. So what else? I'm trying to think what else. that's mostly it right now. There is one other mechanic I'm trying to set up that unfortunately I don't really have. It's not there's no code for it, so I don't really know if I can show it. My video's so choppy. Is there a level requirement? There's going to be. Right now there's not for testing, but there will be a level requirement. Yeah, I mean, let me see if I can, like... I might be able to show it, but... If this doesn't work, then I can't show it, so... Need to go to a different level. Actually, know what I can do? I'll just do... Where is my server? So I'm just going to set up some really jank code just to kind of show you a rough idea of this. Do that. Class should be this. Okay. Now, obviously what I just did is super jank, so this will work differently. But this is a incredibly rough idea of one of the silly things that I'm trying to do. So I'm just gonna walk. You see we have this fun little trail here behind us. I'm sure some of you are like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Ah, it didn't work. Yeah, so it'll do a little trail explosion. But I'm not done with that yet, obviously. So, but that'll be a thing you can activate where you pretty much spawn like a cloud and you can just make like trails and make a little like funny torch thing, right? And it works basically the same system as the normal powder. So the explosion scales with melee. Creatures that walk through these clouds also get stacks. So if I spawn this Diplo, let's see, I can't see the things right now because of how this is working. So I need to, you know, make the system better. Like this guy probably has max stacks right now. So yeah, just a goofy thing that's gonna be, you know, this is so bare bones, so it won't work like that, but it'll be a little more involved, and it'll be fair to, you know, that will cost powder to do that ability. What else? Explosive damage causes fire. Pretty much anything explosive or fire will trigger the explosion on powder. So you can actually do... Oh, and I think something important to note is wild Edmontonia will do their whip attack if their target reaches max stacks. Tamed ones will do the whip attack if they reach max stacks, but ones that you're taming won't do the whip attack. They're kind of relying on you to ignite stuff. That's the whole point of taming. So if I were to give myself a ton of spark powder again, put it on this guy. So if I were to, let's grab a, just do a grenade. We're gonna let him go after this guy. Start hitting him. Gonna throw this. So the grenades cause the explosion too. It causes the fire debuff. Pretty strong. Pretty much anything explosive. Torches will as well, obviously. So like, you could. I know torches by default have that weight limit, but it gets surpassed when there's Edmontonia powder. Edmontonia are immune to their own powder. I don't remember if I made them immune to fire, but they take heavily reduced damage from fire. Let me double check that. It looks like I made them immune to fire, so. Which I should probably actually... just a few of those parent classes. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there might be some other stuff that I haven't shown, but can interact with the oil jar. Yeah, I mean, it's fire, right? So any fire damage will get amplified. As far as like igniting an oil jar, I don't think so. Do allies take the explosive damage? They shouldn't. That's obviously still something we need to test, but as far as I'm aware, right now they don't. So, I mean, easy way to test. Let me just do like, so we got an Ed, and then let me do, I'm just gonna do like a Raptor. I'll do a level 1 Raptor, and then I'll give it infinite stats. So, there we go. So we got a Raptor. And then let's do a very high level Diplo. Oh fuck, I need the spark powder. Whoops. So that spark powder, let's put that on this guy. So if the explosion does hurt, it will kill that raptor probably immediately. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think it did. Let me actually... I'll just turn off infinite stats because the Diplo's not going to hurt it. Yeah, so not gonna hurt him. Cool. Could it theoretically help someone tame a phoenix? Maybe. I'm not sure. Has progress on the flamethrower saddle. So Big Al is actually doing, I think they just finished the retopology for the saddle. Rebecca is going to do the high poly sculpting, and then once that's done, I can rig it, texture it, and start getting that system set up. So it's progressing along. Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of one of the last big things that I have to do for it. After the taming's kind of squared away and stats and stuff, it's It doesn't have much left to do. Oh, and I guess just one other thing, just to kind of show. I know this is still just like stupid for some people, but the whole premium thing. So if I spawn in a wild Edmontonia and I give myself a torch. Ooh. No, give me 1 sec, people. Sorry. Sorry, my fiance has a friend coming over, so. Okay, so we have the little powder there. I got my torch. I can ignite it, right? So if I were to, I believe it's toggle premium mod ownership checks. So if I turn that on, you'll see now it says you must own editions Ascended of Edmontonia before you can tame this creature. So that's kind of an example of how the content gets locked, right? So you can still see the creature in the world if you download it, but you won't be able to tame it. If I interact with this, you'll see the little prompt pop up. If I hit accept, it logs you out of the game. It takes you to the mods page. That's kind of the whole thing, right? Similar to if I wanted to write it, which I don't know if I have that set up right now. Yeah, so I don't have that set up. But yeah, it will have those blocks, right? I'll allow inventory access, so if you're like online, you can access a friend's that has it. Same thing for Anomalo. Taming will be locked, riding, so on and so forth, but you can still see them, you can still get killed by them, you can still harvest the pheromones. You just can't do anything with them. I believe Anomalo also has that set up, actually. So if I go to Anomalo, and where is my funny pheromone? Give item. So you'll see now if I hover over it, it says I can eat this and it will ignore me and whatnot. But if I toggle that ownership check, you'll see you must own editions before you can use this item. So I can't eat it. Is Alpha Anomalo and its systems done? No. I haven't touched Alpha Anomalo. I've only been working on Edmontonia. The only other thing I was doing was Bracky, and that was during the Extra Life stream. But is my camera following me? It is. Okay. So Edmontonia is the only thing I've been working on, pretty much, like almost exclusively. Anomalo doesn't have too much to do. So like the whole alpha mechanic and the cocktails and stuff is pretty easy. So I think it's safe to say sometime in January, if not February, Anomalo will also have the alpha. And the freemium system and stuff. Took you long enough, Debs.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot this was happening. My phone didn't go off.
You forgot. Well, I mean, there's not too much else to show. You've missed most of it.
But I'm here.
Let's see. Will Edmontonia have wild babies? I don't know. I feel like that kind of bypasses the taming a lot. That's tricky because, see, the thing is, it's all about fire damage, right? And fire damage is pretty strong whether you have a level 1 or a level 150 Edmontonia. So you could get a really crummy baby, and fire's still going to be really horrifying. So I might have to reevaluate how I have the fire tick being buffed. Honestly, what might be a good idea is if I change it so the stacks dictate how much of the melee multiplier is being utilized. So, like, if you reached, as an example, let's say your Edmontonia has 500% melee. If you get max stacks on a creature with the powder, then it will do ×5 fire tick. But if you got 5 stacks out of the 10, then it would do 2.5. So it would be half of that Edmontonia's max melee. Does that make sense? That's probably the better way to go about it, which I should implement. So I'll make a note of that. Let's see, what else? We're kind of just in a question answering thing at this point. Oh, also, I think I said this the last stage event, but because you can technically tame Edmontonia with a torch, obviously like a flamethrower or something is much better to tame it with, but it's still possible with a torch. That means I will have them spawn on the island. So you can tame one on the island technically. But previously I had it so they were only going to be on maps where you could make like flamethrower ammo. Yeah, they're going to be on extinction, of course. I haven't made spawns on aberration for them, but I will for testing to see how I feel about it. I'm not opposed to having them spawn on aberration. Definitely not Gen 1 ocean biome. They'll spawn on Gen 1 volcano probably. What else is there to say? Question for the future, will it have an X variant? I don't know. I haven't really thought about variants for the premiums.
I think volcanic and Edmontonia would look pretty cool though.
I don't. It's already like glowy and stuff though, so I don't know how much more you can go on top of it.
Make it glowier.
I saw someone ask about reduced lava damage. That might already be set up. If it's not, it's in the pipeline. So, yeah, I am recording, so this will be on YouTube later. Yeah, I don't know what else to show for this guy. I guess I'll just show the taming method again for the people that missed it. So, you got your Ed. You have your pick of how you want to tame it. You can use a torch, you can use a flamethrower. Obviously, keep in mind with like a torch, you're at a lot more risk. So like if you're trying to tame a 150 Edmontonia, it's going to be dangerous for you to be smacking a 150 Rex in the leg with your torch. So, you know, you'll want better armor for this and everything. We want veggie cakes in the last slot so we can heal him if his health is low. I'm dropping the pheromone. Let's load this up. And another fun thing is you'll notice, man, the camera's really going crazy. I completely lost my train of thought. Crap. Oh man, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Oh. So, oh, that was the thing, the music. Just as a fun, I added the music. Unfortunately, it doesn't work server side. I can't get it to work server side because I wanted it to be only the person that's in the taming process. But it works in single player. It's just a fun thing to make the taming more engaging. Because otherwise, it's just awkward. I wish there was more ambient music in this game. But, so we got just kind of fun music for the taming process. He'll just follow me around while we wait for targets. His health is... Alright, I'll feed him anyway. And there's not really a punishment to doing the flame buff early, but you do want to ideally wait for max stacks, right? Because if let's say it spawns in a Rex and I hit it with a torch when it has only 1 stack, there is a cooldown immunity on the powder buff before it can be applied again. So I'll do it on this guy just as an example. So right now, that Serato can't get higher stacks. The fire's gonna wear off, and now it's gonna be immune. So that's time you're losing, and time that this guy's getting hurt to get that affinity, right? So it's not the worst punishment. It's pretty easy to come back from, especially with like a Serato. But if it were to summon a Rex, it's pretty punishing. But yeah, this is just the taming process. And the creatures it spawns are random from a list. It can spawn raptors, official Serato specifically, Spino, Rex, Carno, and Allos. And what it picks is just totally random. It can still get attacked by random wild creatures. It won't get taming affinity for those. That's important to note. So the only thing it's going to get the taming affinity from are these targets. And I can keep hitting him to just build up that number. What spawned? Oh. It's like, where is it? So, pretty simple taming method. I think it's important to note, right now in the dev kit, I'm technically single player settings. So if I were to do this on a server, the affinity I gain is going to be a lot smaller. So the process will take longer. If you have something like a flamethrower, you can still get it up pretty fast because of how much fire damage the flamethrower is doing. Because you have to remember, it's the fire from the actual debuff, and then the flamethrower itself is basically, as far as game mechanics are concerned, it's shooting little invisible balls that are counting as fire damage. So every one of those hitting is counting as that affinity increase as well. So right now I am in a server setting, so I will spawn in Edmontonia and all the same equipment. As far as I'm aware, all of these systems work on server. There's no issues. The only thing is just the music, which is a bummer, but yeah, everything else, the target it picks and so on and so forth, that all works server side. I'm gonna have to get some water. My throat's so dry. But you'll see here, I'll approach it. Must be looking in your direction. He'll turn around slowly. I'll ignite it. He's gonna start following me. So literally the process is identical, like, but you'll see now if I hit this guy, much smaller affinity, right? Has only 3% from a 150 Serato. So again, it's doable with a torch. It's just a lot more rough. So ideally you would want to use something like a flamethrower, which that's another thing too, I guess. And ASA, everyone owns Scorched, right? You don't have to buy it separately like an ASE. So you technically have access to a flamethrower. So I don't think that's the biggest concern. But wait for this. And you'll see it does go up a lot slower, but with the flamethrower, we can pretty easily get to that 20 cap, right? Now, I noticed you didn't die immediately at 20%, so that's an issue I need to figure out on server side. But, yeah, so process is pretty much the same. So, here, give me 1 second, guys. I really need to get water. My throat's so dry. I guess we're just going outside then. Okay, bye. Ooh. Is it still following me? Did it give up? Uh-oh. Looks like it gave up. Well, you can just look at the corner of my top monitor, I guess. Let me, Oh, there we go. I fixed it. Cool. Is tracking still on? Good. Okay. I don't know what else to show. I think that's about it so far. So I'll open the floor to questions. Or if maybe there's a mechanic I've mentioned previously that I'm forgetting, if someone wants to bring that up. But yeah, otherwise that's Edmontonia, and a dog is scratching on the door. Hi, Bean. You want to come in? Yeah, hey, you want to come in too?
I would do the same thing. Yeah, I need someone to drive me around.
Come on, buddy.
I'm gonna close this door just so Junkie.
Oh, hey, buddy, can you grab my little...
Iggy, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Good boy. Alright. We have all the dogs in my room now. Okay. The plate harvesting thing, I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. That was on the original Extinction post, but it's a completely different system that I like. Maybe in the future, maybe it could be a thing sort of like Alpha Anomalo, but at release, definitely not. It won't be a thing. I'll show... Okay, there's one thing I haven't shown yet that's fun that I will... I don't know if this is something I'm going to do, but the awesome concept artist Charizard made this for fun. I didn't even ask him to do this. And so this is something I might do. I'm no promises, but it is pretty cool. I think you guys will like it too. So that's the thing that Charizard just did for fun. I don't know if that's something I'll do, but it is pretty cool. So So maybe I don't know. Maybe in the future. But you know, since they are premium creatures, having like a bunch of other stuff tied to them, I think is fun. So the armor is absolutely for sure gonna happen. Not soon, but I'm definitely doing the armor for both premiums. A weapon, I'm not sure, but I do really like what Charizard did here. I think this is awesome. So maybe we'll see. But what else?
Someone was asking, so like your Edmontonia will spawn as something like a Rex, right?
Yeah.
So the take part. What if they have Palearch installed? How can we make something compatible where it spawn like my Rex instead, since it's a TLC replacement?
I mean, I assume it would just spawn your Rex. You could test that, Depths, in the game right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You could go try that because yeah, I wonder how that works with Cerato too, actually. Does it make my Cerato? I can't really tell. Because right now the one it's spawning is the official variant. But I don't know. I assume just the way the NPC replacer thing works that it would, but I'm not sure.
Let's test it.
It would spawn up Paleorex if you use Spawn Actor. I believe that's what it's doing. Let me double check. Spawn Dino for taming. It's Spawn Dino is what it's using. And then it's grabbing a class. So it picks the random class up here. So in this case we have Rex character, and then it triggers that there. So is that would work, Merm? That would replace it with Paleo. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that then. I'm not sure. That's maybe something I can look into, but
yeah, we can look into it in the future.
What else? What other questions?
I could show you how to do. I did that for Glaucus, and then okay, well, Merm's got a solution then.
Okay, yeah, as long as it doesn't mess up like the taming process.
Yeah,
because it's pretty fine-tuned at the moment. Like let me show all the things that is happening to a creature when it gets spawned in. So let's see. Corpse stuff changes, corpse lifespan. It loses its harvesting component, it loses its poop item, it stops spawning eggs. It can't be knocked out. It can't wander. It can't target corpses. It doesn't have an inventory component. It can't be carried. It can't be stasis. It won't flee. It can't be immobilized. It gives no XP on death. So the creatures they're spawning are duds. It's just for the taming process. But yeah. Any potential unmodded traits for the Edmund, like a fire affinity, fire damage, stacking increase? I don't know. I mean, is there any traits like that? Maybe not, because correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, another modder, but if I mess with the trait system, don't I have to lock the mod behind Bob's Tall Tales? No?
Nope. No, traits are available like for free now. It's only you only need Bob's Tall Tales to be able to transfer traits from one feature to another.
Okay.
And that's only with the gene scanner tool, I believe.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I could maybe do a custom trait thing, but I haven't looked into traits at all, so I don't know how it works. But yeah, maybe. I mean, in that case, I could make traits for Anomalo too. That's just like more, I don't know, more point gain or something. I don't know. Let's see, what else? Any other questions? I'm probably going to wrap this up soon because I'm actually getting pretty hungry. Hi, buddy. There is no progress on Sucho, Deinonychus, or Velociraptor. As I said before, I am exclusively working on Edmontonia right now until it is done. Yeah, I can post the whip concept in the announcements. Unless somebody screen grabbed it. I don't know if I want to post it in announcements because I'm still not sure if I want to actually commit to the idea. So I feel like I shouldn't do that. But
You get, I guess, some nice practice if you ever sculpt it for weapons.
mm-hmm. I mean, the Anomalo one's pretty easy. I just need to grab his face thing.
Did he do it for Edmontonia as
He
well?
did do an Edmontonia one, but I'm not going to show that one.
Okay. I think I saw it. I did see it or not.
What are your plans for 2025? That is a good question. The first thing is I'm going to immediately do my taxes because they're going to eat me alive next year. After that, I am going to finish up Edmontonia and Anomalo's freemium stuff, get Edmontonia out. From there, once they are done, I will be focusing on Bracky. The Bracky TLC is going to be a big one. It's probably going to be even bigger than Acro. Acro got a good visual upgrade and some mechanics kind of tweaked, but largely the same. Bracky's going to get a pretty extensive overhaul just because of how old it is. So Taming's core idea is going to change, but how it's done is probably going to be changed. Bracky's attacking is going to be different. I am going to give Bracky omnidirectional movement. It's going to feel a lot better to move around. It's still going to be really slow, but it will be better to maneuver. Harvesting stuff's going to, be modified. I'm going to give it some attacks to deal with, like, flyers and stuff. Yeah, so it'll be a pretty extensive overhaul. Oh, the fear thing is going to change too. Its fear is going to be completely... So the best example I can give of how I'm going to redo the fear. So, you know how Wildcard has their bleed set up and it's pretty much just like percent based and it's pretty rough. Like you can have like a really high percent health thing and it gets super punished with bleed. And then I made Deinosuchus, which kind of overhauled the bleed a little bit and made it a little more fair within like the game mechanics. That's kind of the same thing I'm going to do with fear. I'm going to kind of make the fear a little more reasonable for Bracky. It's going to have its own custom fear. That's, it's not going to make your creature run off in a random direction while you're riding it. It's not going to do stuff like that. It'll change that system a little bit. What else? Are you going to post Brachio model work in progress from the end of the actual live stream? Yeah, I can post it in the announcements. What else? And I'll be honest, Brachio is OP in PvP. Hopefully it gets reworked and a little better for it. Yeah, I mean, and, if I don't catch something in PvP, Wildcard surely will. When it becomes official. So... But... It's hard to account for PvE and PvP. It's hard to balance things for both because there's too many variables. Has anyone asked about freemium of Anomalo and Edmontonia? Yeah, I briefly showed kind of a rough overview of the system. Will Savage Acro be an ASA? Yep, Savage is a thing that I will do eventually. Savage won't be official. It'll still be mod exclusive. What else we got? Any flyer? Just Gurugopteryx. Nothing else besides that. What else? What other questions do we have? I am so hungry. I got the silly little sausage dog right here next to me. You guys can't see him, but he's just standing here. Would the Savage Hacker be the same in ASE in terms of mechanics? It'll be overhauled. It'll have some changes to make it a little more engaging. What else? What other questions? I'm gonna wrap up soon because hunger is taking over. Suko, no new info on Suko. Suko's still back burner. Am I excited for Wilds? Yes, I am. I really hope that most of my stuff is out of the way so I can just play Wilds for a week and not do modding. Show you that I forgot the context for a second. I was like, that's weird. I mean, is my camera gonna start following me? There we go. Eggy, come here. Come here. My buddy. This is him. This is the sausage. He's a sweet boy. He's a sweet man. Come here. Hey, let me see. Let me see. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, you sweet boy? This is the little man. Have you planned another savage boss creature? No, not really.
People keep asking me about Dinosuchus.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing I want to do, but I haven't dedicated any thought to it because I have too much other stuff planned. I mean, I have to do 3 TLCs. I have to because Wildcard is waiting on these, so I have to do those. I have Suko. Honestly, I feel like by the time I start working on Suko, Shant is going to get funded because Shant is so close. So I have a lot of stuff to do. So I haven't really been worried about like the boss stuff. It's kind of just like the things I need to do, and then the things I want to do, which I want to do Suko. I'm really excited to do Suko. And I also want to do Velociraptor and Deinonychus. And honestly, Velociraptor probably I could push out relatively fast. The only thing it really needs still is the saddles, all the backpacks. But like mechanically, Velociraptor doesn't have too much to go. Like it's got its little evasive stuff. I'll probably add a little more. Velociraptor will be free. Deinonychus will be free. Suko will be free. Edmontonia Anomalo are the only paid ones. Yeah, I'm gonna do a feather rework on both of them because I think the feathers could be better. And I am also gonna touch up their sculpts a little bit. I think the detail could be better. Aren't you still worried about overlap with the Armadago? I mean, yeah, I was. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys were in the Extra Life stream, but I wasn't super jazzed when they revealed the Armadago because it was pretty much Velociraptor. But Velociraptor is gonna be cooler. Let's be real. Yeah, that too. The dog is locked behind the tall tales, which I feel like most people have anyway, so whatever. But he's such a funny little dog. What else? All right, I'm gonna do like 3 more questions, and then I'm gonna wrap up this event. No info on Krylo. If it's anything that's not Edmontonia, there's no info. Will Edmontonia aggro smaller carnivores? Yes, right now I believe it does aggro things like Raptor. Not sure why. I can modify that probably. Yeah, I can change that. A roadmap of the next projects. Edmontonian Anomaly. Bracky. Was that you? Did you make that squeak? Cryon Conka. I don't know. Stuff. I haven't thought that far ahead. Go, you silly boy. Oh, it's still following me. Can Edmontonia wear a hat? I haven't set up hats for it, but I can do that. If I make the premium weapons a goal. I feel like I'll get chewed out for that. I feel like people are going to be like, we're already paying for the creature. Now you're making us pay for this thing for the paid mod. I don't want to do that. That sounds like a really bad idea. Are the babies cute? I haven't done any of like the baby proportions, so they probably just look like tiny adults. Have you thought about creating more premium mods? Kind of. There's one creature that I think could only be a premium. It's not a real creature, so it could be fun. But besides that, not really. Let's see how baby Edmontonias look. I'm pretty sure they're just tiny adults. He has a tiny adult with a really messed up IK. Look at him go. No, it's actually not the hummingbird raptor. It's something else. No, it's not a flyer. Is it a bug? Maybe. It could be. It's so funny, the camera moves the way I'm like looking. Weird. If you need a way to debug baby modifiers easily, I can throw you some code. Yeah, that's cool. Alright guys. I'm gonna wrap up because my stomach is eating itself. So I hope this was entertaining. I hope Edmontonia seems pretty cool and sweet and worth it to you guys. If not, hopefully you'll be convinced later. But yeah, I really like Edmontonia. I think the taming is super fun. And running around on it is pretty fun. It's good at blowing stuff up. What else is there to say? Yeah, I mean, this is the last stage event. Again, you're probably not going to hear from me until next year. So I'm going to do some final little updates before I do a test build on this guy. And then I'm probably not going to mod for the next 2 weeks. Because I have other things I got to do. But yeah, so we'll call it here, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your year. Everyone have a happy holidays. And Enjoy Extinction too. Extinction's coming out soon. Yes, it will be on YouTube. So, yeah. Take care, everyone. I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next year. So, take care, everybody. Bye-bye. And